So hi, so if you've ever been a student of management or if you follow news these days, you probably heard this term corporate social responsibility or CSR. Now CSR is nothing but a framework to make sure that corporates give back to the society that they make money out of. And it makes sense, right? It does. Now, it's definitely not a new concept. CSR as a concept or giving back as a concept existed long ago. In fact, you can find traces of CSR as a concept in almost every religious literature there is. But it was a little different than this. It was fueled by what I call individual social responsibility. Okay. Now, this talk is kind of an attempt to bring back that sense of individual social responsibility, because the fact that there has to be a law to ensure that corporates are socially responsible stems from the fact that we forgot our individual social responsibility a few generations ago. I am not going to rely on a very motivational quote or a really smart-ass one-liner that explains everything. I don't have a slide with PPTs and bar graphs with startling statistics to shock you. I am going to talk about three fundamental questions that we tend to ask ourselves before getting on to do something good, and a backstory as to how I found my answers. Now the first question is, kya zarurat hai? Why do I have to do this? Right? And it's a very valid question. Now this is the point I start my story. So this one day I was traveling in Mumbai. It was raining cats and dogs that day. My rickshaw stopped at a signal, and I see this girl. She was selling roses. Now as the drill goes, she goes from one vehicle to another. She reaches mine. She tries to sell the rose, and we all know the drill here, right? Keep looking on your phone, bol do nahi chahiye. She'll persist for a couple of minutes and she will leave. But that's not quite what happened that day. She did try to sell me roses. She did try to persist, but she did not leave. She pointed at an umbrella lying beside me and she said, "Chhata de do." Now that's when I actually had a look at her. She was drenched and shivering. She had another baby, and I impulsively gave my umbrella away. Now this girl, she opens the umbrella, she invites a couple of her friends, and they're all very happy. Now I didn't understand what's there to celebrate in getting an umbrella, because we kind of lose it every alternate week, and we take it so much for granted. There is one in the car, one in the house, one in the office. And that's when it struck me how something as basic as an umbrella is a luxury to so many people out there, right? And I decided to do something about it. And that answered my kya zarurat hai problem. If you look around, bahut zyada zarurat hai, and we all know that. In fact, is there anyone out here who can claim that they feel for absolutely no issue, no cause, nothing? They just stone-hearted? Nobody, right? And it could be, the cause that you feel for could be inspired by your, say, experiences, your interests, but there is something. It could be anything ranging from equality to gender neutrality to environment. It could be use of plastic. It could be any of these topics, but there is one, and it's only a matter of doing something about it. Now when you try to do something about it, there is this another question that poses a roadblock. Now that is कि बहुत बकवास दुनिया है, बहुत खराब दुनिया है. It's a bad world and everybody is here to con me, right? And I'll continue with my story to give you a little more perspective about this topic. So after the whole auto rickshaw incident, I decided I could do something. So there were a couple of umbrellas lying in my house. I thought I could pick them up, maybe distribute them. So I thought I'll make use of my friends. I could ask them if they have umbrellas. So I quickly designed this poster using PowerPoint and my limited aesthetic sense, and I put it up on Facebook. I put it up on a few groups here and there, and sent it to a few close friends. Now this message got viral overnight, and there were very kind musicians, comedians, sports people, actors talking about it, and that week my phone did not stop ringing. My inbox was filled with messages, with blessings and good wishes and donations, and of over 400-500 conversations I must have had that week. I remember these two very distinct conversations, and I wanted to pay attention to it. So the first one being, this gentleman, he sends me some cash, some donation via a payment app, and I thank him over SMS. I acknowledge it, and I'm like, you should come over for the distribution drive. He replies, and I quote, "That sounds a little difficult because I'm physically challenged." Now I was moved as much as the next conversation that I had, where this gentleman, he directly sends me a text saying, I really want to help, but I met with an accident 4 months ago and I'm bedridden, broke and jobless. So how much is the minimum that I can pay? Now, neither of them knew me. Okay, no common friends, no connection, nothing at all. And they still wanted to help a stranger when they themselves were in sort of trouble. Okay, and this disbelief that I see in your eyes is your brain trying to fight the kya bakwas dunya hai problem, right? And and many such conversations that I've had over that week. And the third question that poses as a roadblock again is, kya farak padta hai? What difference does it make? My cause is too small, or my contribution is not going to change anything about it. And again, that is a valid question. But even I kind of believed in that. In fact, when I was doing this whole umbrella project, a lot of people told me that umbrellas are such a stupid thing to give. It is not going to solve any problem. And I had started to believe in, I had started ki maybe they are right, and maybe I thought I'll do it this one time and then maybe stop it. But this one conversation that I had with a kid who stays on the street, her name was Mala, I remember her very clearly, and she told me, I asked her, Mala, school jati ho? She was like, हाँ jati hu. I was like, बारिश में कैसे जाती हो? She said, भाग के. And that very moment, I knew that it's not a lost cause. Every little act that you do is never a lost cause. We ended up distributing thousands of umbrellas last year, thousands of umbrellas this year, all donated. And I think even if I would have distributed only one umbrella, that would have made a difference. And I'm not asking you all that we all have to be philanthropists or social workers. In fact, if you ask me, these terms should not even exist. Because then what we do is we tend to put them on a pedestal, expect them to do everything while we could be cheerleaders for them. What the society needs is a culture where doing good is way too common. Now, what we do is we end up making great the enemy of good enough, right? And I come from a very humble background, very average. As average as I relate to the word kacha nimbu a lot, okay, that average. And very humble family. I spent most of my life in a chawl. I still make only enough money to pay my bills. I do a 9-to-5 jobs. And if I could do that, I am sure that most people sitting here can kind of do good, right? And fulfill our individual social responsibility, which is not happening till we do not take it up as a responsibility and not a favor or a charity that we're trying to do, right? And I believe that doing good should be so common, and it should be inside each one of us, to an extent that just distributing a few umbrellas should not qualify anyone for 10 minutes to speak. Thank you.